Hello everyone, it's me, Clyde Bimbo, and welcome back to another episode of Who the Hell Cares? In last week's episode, we had a sitcom approach to an idea of two different characters meeting and interacting for the very first time. I know! Who the hell cares, am I right? When the man-child known as Max finally met with the wizard that should have retired, their first meeting was... well, it was. But then it was sullied by Callus being old and Max being ever so impatient. From there, they set out in search of a sage in a place called the Enchanted Grotto. They stopped off in a small town called Riverwood, or Ward. I don't know, I can't remember. When they arrived, they were met with an old friend of Callus, who he didn't remember. Who was shocked? Not me. Cervantes, Callus's old friend, showed them the way, but warned them of ice fiends. But they didn't listen. What else is new? Amidst their trouble, Callus used a plethora of rhyming words to blow a hole through the mountain, and that is where the episode ended. And here is where we'll begin in episode 13. Boring! Oh wait, sorry. I mean Borin, the Black Dwarf Smith. You know what I meant. Leaving the mountains in an unnatural exit created by Callus, he and Max entered a valley completely surrounded by mountains. They both figured that the Enchanted Grotto was somewhere in the middle of the forested area within the valley. Before they go grotto hunting, Callus fixes Max's burnt clothes with a spell. 'Cause of course he has a spell that can fix charred clothes. Anyway, they walk down the valley towards the forest. When they enter its bushy bushes and leafy trees, the two are greeted with a warm feeling of sun, good air, and a couple of woodland creatures that are a little overly friendly. Hey Callus, is it just me, or does this bright and warm forest filled with its oddly friendly creatures make you all warm and fuzzy on the inside? It sure does, Max. It makes me feel young and hip again. I feel like jumping and skipping through the forest while we go looking for the grotto. Hey, I was just thinking the same thing. Lock arms with me and let's hop, skip, and jump our way to the grotto. I bet with this cheer and joy, we can make up a catchy song that'll make this search go by fast. Even faster with the help from our friendly woodland creatures. Sounds like fun. Let's do it, my pupil. Ha ha ha! Don't call me that. Hello, viewers. If you are confused by the sudden and odd shift in our protagonist and his allies' attitude, don't worry, you are not alone. I am just as f***ing confused as you are. But as I mentioned 2 episodes ago when I had a minor meltdown, that I would try to be as professional as possible. So whatever this crazy-ass writer has in store for you folks, I wonder if he's alright, or if he has a screw loose. But that's enough distractions for this episode. Let's go back to Max and Callus and see what the hell is going to happen next. As the two gallantly skip their way through the forest, they search for the grotto while copyrighted music that can't be heard, nor will it be played throughout this scene plays for them. All is fun and games as the two near the center of the forest, thinking the grotto will be there. Knowing how things go from previous episodes, it probably will. As they near the middle area, the two can see a silhouette of something and rush over to quickly end their search. Yippee! When they come to a clearing, they see a dreary part of the forest. What? Dried and dead leaves all over the area? The first layer of trees that surrounded the clearing are visibly dead, and the ground itself has dried up. In the center of it is a large tent with a forge burning with hot stones, a skin tanning rack, a puffing machine to create more steam, a small oven to convert minerals into ingots, and an anvil that is currently being used. Upon initial sightings of the area, Max and Callus froze midair, as this was not what they were expecting. After I narrated all of which that was just said, they both fall and come back to reality. The music, if there was any, has cut and gone far, far away, and the friendly animals have turned feral and ran away hunting each other. Oh God. What the heck was that all about? I don't know. Could it have been some sort of magic mushroom or some sort of plant that could have made our inhibition lowered? Just as the two were coming back to their senses, the strike of a hammer hitting against the mentioned anvil clanged and clattered. The two looked to see a small campsite for a blacksmith, and obviously the blacksmith is present doing the hammering. Duh! They get up and go to see that the blacksmith is a man in shorter stature, gruff-looking, and with a beautifully thick beard and wearing goggles for protection. Smart man he is. They stand across from his anvil and wait for him to finish to talk to him. Oh, crap. What's wrong, Callus? It's a dwarf. Well, that doesn't seem right. What's wrong with dwarves? Where do I start? First off, dwarves are very proud, which makes them arrogant. They have very little respect for anything that isn't dwarvish make. On top of that, they're reluctant to help build anything for anyone besides their own kind. And their work, which consists of blacksmithing, brewing their own ale, or mining, and that's it. Yes, they may be small, but they're very determined individuals with a hard mind that gets the job done. And they ensure that it is done right and authentically dwarvish, which is very admirable. Max just stares at Callus after he talked down on dwarves, but then quickly spoke highly of them, completely contradicting his own analysis of them. Just then the dwarf finishes with his hammering and dunks the sword he is currently making into water and leaves it there. He then lifts his goggles and turns to see Max and Callus. Oh, I wasn't expecting guests. Well, don't just stand there. Come into my tent and have a seat. You two must be tired from your travels here. The inaccurately described dwarf openly welcomes both Max and Callus into his tent, his home, and tends to them. They are seated in a lovely living quarters filled with big, fluffy, comfortable cushions and are given plates of food and cups of wine to help nourish them. So, what brings you two fine gentlemen to the Hidden Valley Forest? Are you perhaps just traveling and got lost? If so, I'd gladly stop what I'm doing to help guide you on the right path. Max takes a sip of the wine and coughs a little as it burns his throat, noticing how strong it is. Meanwhile, Callus dines the lovely meal, one grape at a time. Excuse me. No, we're not lost per se, but we could use your guidance. But before we trouble you any further, let us introduce ourselves. I'm Max Dougal. And I'm Callus, the Archmage. An Archmage, you say? This really is a treat for me then. I have had very few visitors, but never an Archmage. Also, a foreigner too? Max Dougal was your name was. Never heard of someone with that name in these lands before. My name is Borin, and as you can tell, I am a dwarf blacksmith. Pretty typical, I know. But it's my calling. Did you say your name was Boring? Well, that explains all dwarves. All you do is drink, work, and sleep. Nothing else. Very boring indeed. Don't forget eat. We do eat a lot. Callus pauses and smirks, knowing Borin is right. He laughs and eases up a little, even though he's pretty relaxed as it is. I like this one. He's not your typical dwarf. Max nods to Callus dismissively, knowing he was full of it earlier, and continues their chat. Back to the matter at hand. We are travelers, and we're actually in search of a place. Perhaps you've heard of it? The Enchanted Grotto? Oh, I know of that place. It's just over the mountains south of here. Most folks that go there pass through here and get there. Very few stop here unless they get lost, like you two. If you'd like, I can escort you folks there. It wouldn't be any trouble. That would be amazing. Thank you, Borin. Borin gushes and blushes over Max's praise. Oh, look at the little guy. It would be my pleasure. We'll go tomorrow morning. For now, you two can rest here and stay for the rest of the day and the evening. It looks like you've been through a lot lately. Tell you what, if you want, I have a hot spring in the back I made for myself. Later tonight, you two can join me for a relaxing dip. In the meantime, I'm going to return to my forge and continue building a sword. If you happen to have any materials on hand, I'd be willing to use them to reinforce the sword to give to you on your travels. Borin, I could hug you right now. You are the gift that keeps on giving. I'd love a dip in a hot spring. As for the sword, I don't have any materials on hand. What about you, Callus? Do you have materials that Borin could possibly use?
I have this magical bag of holding that I acquired many years ago and collected a number of things. Here, take a gander.
Callus pulls out a small loot sack, opens it, and dumps years and years of crap he's collected onto the floor. To most, it's junk, but to Borin, it's a treasure trove of materials. Woo! Oh, jeepers! This is a bounty like no other. Could I keep all of this?
Sure, I don't see why not. I barely used half of it anyway. I just hoarded it thinking it was cool or thought I'd need it one day.
Oh, mighty gracious of you, Mr. Archmage. Borin smiles like a giddy little child and scoops everything up and brings it to his forge. He comes through the pile and spots a nice rock. Seriously? That's all it says here in my script? A nice rock. He tosses it into the oven and gets to work on melting it to use it and forge a stronger and better sword for Max. As Borin gets to work on forging a better sword for Max... Really? You make me use the same words twice, you piece of... Never mind. He and Callus spent the day lounging, sitting on their asses and taking it easy, because I think this will be their only break. Soon night falls and Borin finishes the sword and serves dinner afterwards. After eating, the three of them take a relaxing dip in Borin's hot spring. Max washes away all the troubles he has endured since he first came to Galavandriel. Borin washes away the day's trials and labors of his regular workload. And Callus? I don't know what he could be washing away. Maybe years of dead skin and stank. Ugh, who knows? When they finish, they all turn in for the night. When the next day starts, the two guests remain asleep while Borin sheaths and wraps Max's sword for him. A couple more hours go by, and the two get up, eat, and then Borin escorts them to the narrow, rocky pathway that leads up the mountains. Alright, here is where I stop. Follow this path up into the mountains and keep going until you start to see a ground of greenery. That is the telltale sign of the enchanted grotto. But before you go, I have something for you. Borin pulls the wrapped sword forward and gives it to Max. As promised, a sword for you, young Max. Use it well. Max smiles and takes the sword. He tears off the wrapping like a child opening a gift on Christmas. Woo! He sees a nice, shiny, and clean hilt and a light brown leather sheath covering the blade. He grabs the hilt in one hand and pulls off the sheath with the other to reveal the shiny new toy.
Sword.
He oohs and ahs at it and starts swinging it around, like a child again.
It's so shiny.
It feels light and effortless to use and handles perfectly to his wacky style. When he finishes, he puts it back in the sheath and then straddles it to his back. Thank you very much for all you've done for us, Borin. If there's anything you need, ever, please do not hesitate to ask, and I'll try to help you in any way I can. Max puts his hand out to Borin. Borin smiles and meets Max's hand, and the two shake. Think nothing of it, my young friend. It is always a joy to have guests visit me, and to be of service to them in exchange for their good company. You remind me of why I do what I do, for the joy and service of others brings me such reward. Should you ever come back, I wouldn't say no to any junk as your narrator put it. I'd come with you, but this here is my home. And well, there's no place like home. Wait, how does he know of me? I'm a little weirded out by that. And judging by Max's face, it looks like he is too. Oh well. Alright then. We'll be off. Max and Callus start to walk off and near a bend in the path. As they make their way around it, Borin calls out to them, but they can faintly hear his voice.
Max! Old man! Be cautious! There's a dweller up in these mountains!
Max and Callus tried to make out what Borin was warning them about.
Huh? You know what he said, Callus? The mountains are mountains? Well, I could have told you that. What'd you say, Max? I didn't hear you.
But all they can make out was, cautious mountain in these mountains. Huh? They figured it was something else and shrugged it off and then continued. And that is the end of this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this weirdly heartfelt message of, I don't know, getting the rest when you deserve it? I don't know what this episode was about. I don't have much to say, so you know what? I got nothing to say. Bye!